This weekend, the Sports Car Club of America returns to America's National Park of Speed, Road America. Across 2 grueling days of competition, 23 champions will be crowned in an event unique in motorsports. For over 400 drivers, a season's toil culminates in this single event with the chance to earn a coveted gold medal and the title of national champion in the 62nd edition of the SCCA National Championship Runoffs, presented by Sunoco.
It is a beautiful fall day here at America's National Park of Speed, and that, of course, is Elkhart Lake's Road America, as we're here for the 62nd running of the SCCA National Championship Runoffs presented by Sunoco. I'm John Phippen. I'm alongside Tom McGorman as we are getting ready to kick off F Production National Championship. We're looking forward to this one. 21 cars on the starting grid, and they're getting ready to go racing as we have got these cars ready to go. And down on pit side, the third member of our broadcast team is Hayward Wagner. Hey, Hayward.
John, you keep talking about this beautiful fall day in Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin, and where I'm standing, it's still summer. It is warm here on the pit lane, and we are ready for a hot one for sure. This is going to be F Production, and this is a little bit different class than we've seen it before, as GT Lights has been blended into the class, and we're taking a look right now at our second qualifier. And this is a car that last year was a GT Light car. Of course, this one is driven by Chris Bovis, and Chris has been very successful with this car in GT Light. It is now a part of F Production, and it's a little bit down on torque compared to the traditional production cars. That means that he is going to really need to manage corner speed, get good oils off the corner, and hope that he gets good toes down the straightaway. Now, what's the wrinkle in all of this? The front 2 cars on the grid are on Goodyears. Everybody behind them are on Hoosiers. And the big question is going to be, with the heat, is it going to be the venerable, proven, tested, known Hoosier that lasts to the end of the race? Or is there some pace in these Goodyears that came from qualifying and can run all the way to the end?
Exactly right. Getting a good shot of Kevin Ruck, who came within 2 turns of winning this race a year ago. And I got a chance to talk to Kevin afterwards, and that engine let go in a pretty comprehensive way, Tomo.
And there's something about F Production that drama follows, and it's always kind of in a good way, maybe not for each individual, but for us to watch. It's just a fantastic class. There's no particular reason for it. It just always ends up with being such a fantastic race. This year, though, adding extra fuel to the fire with including those formerly GT Light classified cars, which means they're allowed tube frame pieces. They're allowed a little bit of a different build model, but all that to say, they come out to about the same lap time pace. The other big difference, I'm not sure Hayward mentioned, is how much lighter that second place car is because of its GT Light heritage rather than the production cars. But I will say in general, everyone going, where did David Stripmatter come from? We're going to talk about that soon.
Exactly. But let's take a lap around this 4-mile circuit presented by Mazda.
So down the front straight into turn 1 of a great braking zone, going to be side by side for sure at the green flag, and then turn 3, of course, in that first sector. This is where cars, specifically the front wheel drive Hondas from F Production heritage and currently still here in F Production, will be the quickest. Then we get into the handling sector, probably Chris Bovis's favorite part of the track, starting at turn 5 up the hill at turn 6. Flat out through turn 7, although hairy flat out, not a lot of aero on these cars. Then a deep braking zone downhill, the hurry downs into turn 8. Through the carousel where the cars are going to start to clear just about 100 miles an hour at the exit of turn 10, a really, really sketchy section of track when you don't have any wings or things to hold you down. Then a flat out run through the kink if you're brave enough before the braking zone at turn 12, uphill through Bill Mitchell Bend at turn 13, and then 14, the dig up to the front straightaway. This may not be a class where we see side-by-side door-to-door finishes every single year, but as you mentioned, you can't count out anybody until the checkered flag actually flies at start-finish.
Exactly right. And the addition of the GT Light cars, as you said, really does create a whole new area of competition for these drivers, and the equalization of the GT Light cars with the F Production cars. We'll see how that all shakes out. As let's go to a quick break before we do the rundown as the cars are out on their formation lap. Thanks to all the folks and the sponsors that make this broadcast possible.
Okay, track day checklist. Let's go. You got your gloves, your helmet, water, snacks, sunscreen, your car is prepped and ready to go. Oof, forgot your track day insurance, didn't you? If you want to be covered for the whole value of your car, you need high-performance driver education coverage through Hagerty. We'll get you a policy for track days, time trials, and more in less time than it took you to apply that sunscreen. Hagerty, let's drive together.
Choose joy. Choose the road. Choose your people. Choose your shot. Take it. Choose to get in there. Even better, get out there. That's it. Way out there. Choose your calling. Choose to really care. Choose to go for it. Just choose. We craft cars for those who choose to do more than simply move.
I wake up.
Shopping for tires used to really rub me the wrong way. That was before I went to TireRack.com. TireRack's tire decision guide made it easy to find the right tires. Talk about secret sauce. You might ask, well, you bought them, now how are you gonna put them on? No problem. TireRack has thousands of recommended installers. I chose one that does mobile installation. A technician brought the tires right to my house. He's installing them now.
Almost finished, Herb.
Take your time. I'm just marinating. TireRack.com, the way tire buying should be.
Welcome back to Road America as we're kicking off F Production National Championship as we've got 18 former champions in the field. Let's run them down for you. Starting on the pole, David Strittmatter, number 28, Acura Integra out of the Ohio region. Next to him, the 178 of Chris Bovis, the first of the GT Light cars out of the Chicago region in a Honda CRX. Then we've got Kevin Ruck, who came so close. He's a two-time champion in his own regard in that number 73 Integra out of the Ohio Valley region. Right alongside him is the 51 of Ken Kennard, another former champion in 2023 out of the Atlanta region. Then we've got Mason Workman, the defending champion in the number 52 car out of the Ohio Valley region in his Miata, and Steven Simons in the 63 out of the Houston region. In row 4, the 145 of Stephen Powers from the Arizona region and the 47 of David Bednars from the Detroit region. They're both in Miatas. Then we've got the 11-time national champion Michael Lewis in the number 32 out of the Cal Club in his Mazda RX-7. Gerald Lamb next to him in the number 42 out of the Milwaukee region in another Miata. The youngest driver in the field is the 118 of Thomas Gatos out of the Ohio region in his Honda CRX. Thanks for the cookies, by the way. And Bill Verdian in the number 6 out of the Milwaukee region in a Miata. In row 7, the 70 of Mark Webber. This is his 71st start in the runoffs. Mark Webber, the veteran, out of St. Louis in his Miata. Next to him, the 04 of Jonathan Goodale out of the Colorado region in another Miata. Michael Froh starts in row 8 in the number 72 out of Milwaukee, and another Milwaukee driver, a rookie, the only rookie in the field, the 16 of Jeffrey Winterfield in his Mazda Protege 5. In row 9, the 188 of Paul Jensen out of the Continental Divide region in a Miata, and Mike Nat in the number 74 out of the Milwaukee region in an MG Midget. Chris Copley is in car number 10. He's out of the New England region in a Toyota Paseo, and the 95 of Tim Linderud out of the San Francisco region in a Volkswagen Rabbit. Unfortunately, the oldest driver in the field, Weber Manning, unable to take the start in the number 49 Mazda Miata. As we are coming out of turn 14 as the safety car pulls into the pit lane, turning the field over to David Strittmatter and Chris Bovis. Tombo, I just want to give a quick shout out to our good friend Rusty Bell, who we lost way too early over the fall after a brief illness. Rusty, a longtime GT Light competitor, known to a lot of folks in the pit lane. Rusty, we're thinking about you, and I know he's looking down and going to enjoy this race. And there's the green flag, and Strittmatter gets a good jump as Bovis will slot in alongside Kevin Ruck, going side by side with the 4th place runner Ken Kennard as they head down toward turn number 1. Some 3 and 4 wide shuffling in the back as the Miata's looking for position down to the inside, and the 52 gets around as that is Mason Workman, the defending champion as he tries to take that position away from Kevin Ruck, but Ruck holding strong there in the 4th spot. Workman going for 2nd as he goes side by side with Bovis. Workman on a mission here.
Wasting no time at all. You're right, it was a great breakaway for Strip Matter, and that's the difference in torque we saw between the top 2 cars. The question I have is what's happening to Ken Kennard? He's all the way back in the left side of your screen, that orange Integra back to nearly 10th. Potentially some mechanical issues already rearing their head here in F production. But right now at the top, it's Strip Matter, then Kennard, then Bovis, with Kevin Ruck slotting into 4th. Ruck getting the run around the outside of turn 3, it looks like, down the inside of turn 4 and 5, and will take the spot from Chris Bovis, who's probably looking to go the long distance in this race more so than right out of the gate speed.
Looks like a little dump out of the middle of Bovis's car. We'll keep a close eye on that, as right behind him is the 47 David Bednar's in that open top Miata as they make their way through turn 7. Usual suspects at the front, but we talked about David Strittmatter. David has been a long-time competitor. Let's see, this is how many runoffs has he been in? Just check real quick, but carrying on. Strittmatter still hanging on to the lead, but here comes Mason Workman trying to make it 2 in a row as he goes to the inside, drops a wheel off, kicks up a little dust. Mason Workman getting to the front already.
Man, Workman means business. Yeah, you're right. This is the 13th start for Strittmatter, and he's always been perennially just outside the window. If there's 4 cars battling for the lead, he's 5th. If there's 10 cars battling for the lead, he's 11th. And this year, he's put in the work. He's found so much pace in qualifying. Everybody going, wow, where is this coming from? But good for you, man. And he's now dropped to 2nd place. Kevin Ruck looking racy as well. But man, Workman has just completely come with the fuse lit to this 2025 race.
Yeah, Ruck had a big lead last year until right here when the engine let go in that Acura and Workman inherited the win. He certainly deserved it as he was well back, but he's going to waste no time to get to the front and see if he can build up a big lead here as Kevin Ruck looking for a way around Strittmatter as those 2 Acuras go after it. Workman right out to the edge of the track as he comes to the flag to complete race lap number 1.
The Acuras tend to be a little bit better on the long straights. They're going to be a little bit easier to race as you see Strittmatter already starting to close the gap. Workman not even going to come close to letting him think about the inside. Glues himself to the wall, and there's the difference in straight line speed. I think the motor in that number 28 car is partially where he got some of this speed for the 2025 race. He makes it look easy around the outside. That's some Cliff Ira levels of straight line speed. Unfortunately, Ira not with us this year in this race, but that Del Sol always so fast. Strittmatter maybe got some advice from him.
You see Kevin Ruck, a little flashing of the brake lights as he's checking to make sure the brakes are up to temperature as he is trying to take advantage of the horsepower he's got under the hood of that machine as he demonstrated a year ago. And Chris Bovis hanging right in there in 4th with David Bednar's right behind him, Stephen Powers, Stephen Simons, Michael Lewis, the 11-time champion Bill Verdian, and Thomas Gatos, your top 10 after the first lap.
It's a nice start for Lewis as he picked up a couple of positions. That's the blue RX-7 in the background, the second currently running overall GT Light, formerly GT Light car. And one of the big changes, I think, both visually but also from the way the cars drive from GT Light, no auxiliary aero, no big wings anymore. They're all a little bit looser and a little bit floatier than they're used to being, but it's not slowing down Chris Bovis. He shows a nose up the inside for turn 6. Can't quite get it done. Not enough torque in that GT Light tube frame CRX, and now he's got a lot of pressure from Bednar's in the silver MX-5.
Yeah, and Workman, after driving to the front, is now in danger of losing 3rd spot as Bovis goes down to the inside at the bottom of Hurry Downs and does just that. So Bovis up into the 3rd spot. So Workman, after that big charge early on, now dropping back as maybe the pace going away from him just a little bit, and he's got Bednar's right on his tail. Just behind Bednar's the 145 of Stephen Powers in that blue Miata. But now the 2 Acuras beginning to stretch it out in front.
This is the story we thought qualifying might end up telling as the 2 Hondas at the front row. Workman to the inside and Bovis goes for the pop. We'll get to that thought in a second as they're now side by side. Bednar's is going to try to look at it as well, but the Civic seems okay on the brakes. No, this time it's the Miata that gets through on 3rd. Bovis with the over-under beautifully executed and will now motor up through Bill Mitchell Bend and take over the 3rd spot again.
Yeah, that Honda's really good maneuverability-wise, for want of a better term. It's probably a little bit lighter than the Miata behind, so that'll give Bovis just a little bit of an advantage as they work their way out of turn 14 and begin to climb up the hill once again. The 2 Acuras at the front, then Bovis, then Workman, then Bednar's. Pretty much status quo behind. Michael Lewis in that RX-7, the other GT Light machine, in the top 5, right there in the hunt.
To finish the thought, these two Miatas were about 3 seconds slower than the top 3 cars in qualifying, so it's not a surprise, although they were so racy at the start, to maybe see their raw pace just not quite there in this year's Runoffs race. 13 laps, working lap 3 of those 13. We've got 40 minutes on the clock to get them done, and so far it's been really exciting with Steven Simons trying to cling onto the back of Michael Lewis. Simons with some updates on the livery of that car at the back of this pack that we're watching. Looks really, really cool, but can't quite find a way around Lewis yet.
Simons, one of the 2 drivers who are in the hunt for a super sweep. Ken Kennard is one of them. If he wins, if Kennard can find his way to the front, if he wins, he'll take the first super sweep of the runoff. Steven Simons could as well, but he needs some help if he's able to get it done. Here comes Michael Lewis down to the inside of Stephen Powers. Powers hanging tough on the outside, so Lewis not able to complete that pass. And then right behind Lewis, Steven Simons clinging to the back of this. Lewis with the inside line at turn 6. Simons goes wide, kicking up a big cloud of dust.
Lewis doing a nice job to leave Powers some space, and Powers is going to use every inch of it, including some of the dirt, going full spec Miata style, as now it's a drag race between these 2 Miatas at the back. That's Powers and Simons with the white on the front of the car. They're going to go side by side and lose touch with Lewis just a little bit at the front. The top 2 Acuras have pulled away slightly, but it's still Strittmatter with the fast lap about 0.6 of a second up last time at the line, but only 0.2 faster on the track. Just ever so slightly easing away from Kevin Ruck, at least in these first couple of laps.
Stephen Powers and Steven Simons going after it for that 7th and 8th position as they're chasing the 11-time champ Michael Lewis in his RX-7. You can see the flames coming out of the exhaust pipe of that RX-7. The rotaries always do that on trailing throttle. Nothing to be concerned about. It's normal stuff. Simon's looking racy here as he goes side by side with Lewis. Takes him a little bit wide. Lewis comes right back at him as they're still side by side through Thunder Valley and the Bill Mitchell Bend.
Good stuff, and you see how nervous the RX-7 is on the brakes, doing the big shimmy down the braking zone into Canada corner. Perhaps some brake bias not quite dialed in on that car, or just absolutely exerting everything he can from the brakes. Almost touches again, a little slide to keep it off the door of Simons. Very courteous and well raced, but is going to lose the position. Simons picks up 2 on this lap.
Stephen Powers going to try to go with the 11-time champion as Chris Bovis has just set the fast lap of the race. So don't count him out just yet. Maybe takes a little longer to get that GT Light machine up to speed, and Kevin Ruck spins. It looked like a rear lockup perhaps when he got on the brakes. Let's see if he's able to continue.
That was strange. I almost wonder if he missed the downshift, perhaps got 2nd instead of 4th. I'm not sure, but the thing locked up so fast. Watch here on the brakes. As soon as he locks the rear axle, yeah, that was odd. I have to wonder if I don't think it was simply a driver error. There was something mechanically upset with that car on entry, and once again, Kevin Ruck's race not going his way. The conversation now cuts down to 2 cars, Strittmatter versus Bovis, with Bovis showing a lot of pace right now.
Exactly right. Strittmatter with a little breathing room, and again, the Acura with probably a little more motor than Bovis has got in that CRX as they climb the hill pretty much by themselves now. At the line, it was just about 0.7 of a second, but it's a little more than that now as they had to take a little bit of an evasive action for that very unusual spin by the 2-time champion, Kevin Ruck. Strittmatter finding it working his way, taking the tire rack pole, his first tire rack pole, after this being his 13th runoff start. His best finish in his Runoffs career so far has been a 5th. And that was an F production at Road America back in 2012. So this is unknown territory for David Strittmatter, but he's certainly doing a great job out front. But Bovis lurking right there behind him. Bovis, a 3-time champion, most recently in 2017 in GT Light. He's also the winner of the 2007 Kimberly Cup, for the driver who has shown the greatest improvement in the past year. This 2-way battle at the front now. They are all by themselves with Strittmatter and Bovis. Mason Workman and David Bednarz locked together in the battle of the 2 lead Miatas for the final step on the podium.
And keeping them honest, they're only about 3.5 seconds at bay from Bovis and Strittmatter. And to tell the story of sectors, Strittmatter was about a 0.5 second faster in sector 1, and then Bovis about a half second faster in Sector 2. So that's the difference in the weight, the power, the torque, and the prep levels of those two cars. It's going to ebb and flow for this entire race as we start lap number 5 of 13. I think Bovis is going to be a little bit better over the longer run with the weight lacking in that car. I think it's at least 200 to 300 pounds lighter, if not more, depending on the engine package he's gone with. Strip Matter, though, looks very comfortable at the top of this race. Not a lot of drama, not a lot of effort exerted on that car that's not necessary at this point in the race.
That CRX was the car to have in GT Light for a number of years. It definitely showed its heels to a lot of the cars in the field in that class. So it is a potent one indeed. But like you said, they had to strip the rear wing off of it. So Bovis is dealing with a much looser race car than he's probably used to. But maybe taking him a little while to get comfortable with it. But as he stays as close as he does to David Strittmatter, it makes me wonder that he's just biding his time, seeing what he's got. And then we'll see what happens in the later stages of this, as this battle for third is a dandy. Mason Workman, the defending champion. David Bednar's looking for his first championship. Bednar's out of the Detroit region, has yet to get a medal at the runoffs, so this would be his first medal if he's able to make that happen.
Nice battle. Go ahead.
Yeah, Mason Workman in his 20th runoff start. Taking this win a year ago. Now has a son who is racing in club racing as well, so looking to be a second generation father of a racing son. Not here at the runoffs this year, but we might well see him down the road. Both Kevin Ruck and Mason Workman from my home region, the Ohio Valley region, and Tomos as well.
Nice battle between these two, and I think I saw Kevin Ruck still in the background. The battle between Lewis Power Simons. Just got an Acura Integra joining behind. A little further back, Jonathan Goodale up from 14th to 9th. There's that battle I just mentioned. Is Ruck still there? No, he was there for a moment, and now he's missing. Perhaps that Integra having to call it quits now with Powers getting a look to the right side, left side, right side, pops to the left for one final time on Simons, but Simons better on the brakes, and the black and yellow car both still stuck behind the RX-7 of Michael Lewis, continuing to do a nice job in that car.
Yeah, Lewis able to get away from them just a bit. Probably a little more torque off the corner, perhaps, from that rotary. Hard to tell. As they bend it down into turn 14. A little lockup there from Michael Lewis on the right rear as he got on the brakes for turn 14. But they begin the climb up the hill now in this battle for 5th, 6th, and 7th.
This is still the closest battle on the track, but last time across the line, Chris Bovis retook the fast lap of the race, even though David Strittmatter set a personal best. Bovis was 0.15, excuse me, 1.5 tenths faster than Strittmatter. So that top battle, while it's not necessarily door-to-door yet, I think it's inevitable at some point that those two are going to battle this out for the top spot. And then Mason Workman and David Bednar's also having their good race.
Lewis's car looks to be a little stronger in a straight line. As you would expect, the GT Light cars should have a little more top end than the F production-based cars. But these Miatas are very handy. And it looks like Steven Simons is going to close right up on the back. Then we turn our attention back to this third place battle, Workman and Bednar's, and then there it is. As Lewis going right down the middle of the racetrack. And again, another bit of a lockup there as it belches the flames out of the exhaust.
Sometimes hard to tell the difference between the smoke and the fire and a brake lockup on that car, but he's still continuing to drive just slightly defensive, but very productively so. No one can find a way by yet. Both of them have tried. And this time by, for the first time, Kevin Ruck does drop off the timing and scoring sheets for us. So that's heartbreaking for the number 73s.
Yeah,
pulled off to the left side of turn 5.
Yeah, it's just at the exit of turn 5, yeah. Oh, man, that's a tough break for Kevin. I feel bad for him. Michael Lewis into the carousel turn, leading this 3-car battle for 5th, 6th, and 7th.
Oh,
Strittmatter's off the pace. Trouble for our leader. It does not sound healthy as it comes by our microphone.
Yeah, I think I saw the left front down. Yes, he's got a flat tire. The
exactly
Goodyear
right.
has a tire failure on the left front.
Oh, man.
And now that makes me nervous because we know the Goodyears are also on Chris Bovis's car. but so many different ways to have an issue like this. Maybe just hitting the curb just wrong, running the pressure too low, too high. Strip Matter was in the catbird seat for this race and now finds the perfect place to hide. Man, heartbreak for both of our top running Integra as he comes out of the carousel.
Yeah, up over the curb just a little bit. Was that all it took for that tire to go down? Yeah, it's already flat. You can see it right there. And man, approaching the kink with a flat tire, yikes. But a good job. He got out of the throttle just enough to make it happen. So Strip Matter in a pretty good spot.
Oh. That's going to give Bovis a pretty healthy lead, I think close to 8 seconds, yes, as he navigates turn 1 for the first time. The next battle on the track then becomes for second and third. The question is, they would have seen for sure that Strip Matter was wounded coming through that back straight section, so Workman and Bednarz are going to be clued into the fact that they're both racing for a podium instead of just one of them at this point, with Strip Matter hopping out of the car, rightfully dejected looking, and so heartbreaking to watch. And this is what follows F production. It's always interesting for some reason or another.
So Chris Bovis now with a comfortable lead. Can he make it to the end is the question, because like I said, both he and Strip Matter on the Goodyear tires, the rest of the field on Hoosiers. So is that an issue? Hard to tell. Time will tell, as we're about halfway through this one, working race lap number 7. So Bovis can afford to take it a little easier, as his pace, his last lap of 2:36 and some change. Mason Workman and David Bednarz in the mid 2:37s. Michael Lewis in the 2:39s. Powers a little bit quicker in a high 2:38. So that battle for now 4th, 5th, and 6th is probably not done yet. But this is a compelling one now for what will be the silver medal. But hey, Mason Workman was in this position a year ago and ended up with the gold. So no guarantee that Chris Bovis can make it to the end.
It's very true. And you mentioned backing the pace down a little bit for Chris Bovis. That is 100% part of this, especially with these more high-strung race cars. If you don't need, you really want to win by the smallest margin possible. As we have another mechanical issue for Mike Nat in that MG Midget, I believe.
I believe so.
Has been running a little further down the field in 15th when he now drops out. Attrition kicking in halfway through this race, working lap 7 of 13.
Something we're not unaccustomed to in production racing. These cars are usually pretty high strung. We used to joke that the production cars, especially the smaller production cars, had 13-lap hand grenades for motors, and sometimes that 13 comes a little sooner than you expect. So. But Workman and Bednarz battling for the silver medal as they climb the hill, completing race lap number 7, working 8 now. Right up against the wall. Trying to get a little side draft off that wall, but Workman is now motioning to Bednarz to get him to back off, I think, just a little bit.
Yeah, at first I was kind of surprised David Bednarz going for the bump draft down the front straightaway. They're not trying to get away from anybody. Maybe they think they can catch up just slightly on Chris Bovis, but last time through, Bovis was still nearly 2 seconds a lap faster, that lap faster than Workman or Bednarz, and I don't think Workman appreciated the bump draft, or at least wanted it to stop as soon as he approached the braking zone. Bednarz then drops back a couple of car lengths before we have this drama happening. Simons runs a little bit wide at turn 3.
Yeah, and then now side by side with Simons is Powers going side by side with Michael Lewis, but Lewis able to get a little more power down coming out of turn 3 and get back into the lead as this battle for 4th, 5th, and 6th. Lewis now up into that 4th spot. He's only 1 position away from yet another medal.
I think if we were doing time attack right now, both of these Miatas would be a little bit faster on outright pace than the RX-7, but the RX-7's making speed in all the right ways, and Michael Lewis is driving a good race to stay in front of these 3. This is now the battle for 5th, so a top 5 on the line for these 3 drivers. In fact, at the line, Stephen Powers had 5th position. Steven Simons had 4th, excuse me, so this is the battle for 4th, my mistake. Lewis had been as far back as 6th, now finds himself back in the 4th position yet again.
Exactly right. His 49th runoff start. He had a start earlier today in GT1, and he's had 24 podium finishes over in that car. Mark Webber up to 9th in his 71st start. So Mark Webber looking for another top 10. Driver out of the St. Louis region. Leads all drivers in number of starts at the Runoffs. His 700th race and his 70th start earlier today. This is number 71.
An incident underneath.
It looks like the 6 has gone around. That's Bill Verdian out of the Milwaukee region.
And Jonathan Goodale was involved as well. Those two cars sound like they came together maybe at the apex of turn 8. I think Goodale was following, so perhaps making a pass. It's tough to speculate, but Bill Verdeen is indicating no drive in that car.
Yeah, it looked like there's some damage there, and you can see Goodale's car flapping on the left or right rear corner. So that's going to promote Mark Webber up into 7th place.
Exit of turn 8 is not an ideal place for a car to be sitting. He's pretty early on the runoff, but I don't expect they're going to let him just sit there if he can't get it started. We won't speculate too much further on that either, but Goodale with bodywork flapping, perhaps going to be reporting to pit lane. This battle continues for 4th, and now it's got a time limit on it, perhaps, with Lewis still leading the way over Powers and Simons.
5 laps to go as when they work their way down the hill into turn 3. Stephen Powers right behind him, then Steven Simons and that pair of Miatas. So it's a Mazda festival for that 4th place battle. Yeah, the 6 car is still sitting there, Verdeen, I'm not sure how it's pronounced. And here comes Simons, going to try to make that move around the outside of Michael Lewis. Lewis doing a good job of staying defensive. Able to make it happen. He gets a good run out of that corner. That car gets a good dig, and we are going full course yellow.
Yeah, just as that pass attempt failed for Stephen Powers, we're going to go full course yellow to recover that car. So much pedigree and history with Eric Prill having won championships in that car, passing hands to Bill Verdeen, and unfortunately took a clunk somewhere along the way. We suspect Jonathan Goodale also involved with that.
That's the car we talked about earlier, the 74 MG of Michael Natt, also off course. So this is not what Chris Bovis wanted to see after building up an 11-second lead. That's going to evaporate as the safety car comes into play, and the pace car will pick up our leader.
At the same time, every lap you do under yellow in a built car like this is a lap not under stress.
Yep.
So we do see failures under full course yellow, but they are far less common than under green flag racing. So I imagine Chris Bovis is pretty comfortable with the pace he has still in that car. I think he knows he didn't have a lot of pressure, and now he gets to just take the pressure off the car itself. Mason Workman was continuing to run in the 2nd position after inheriting some positions from the retirements of David Strittmatter there in the yellow Integra on your right, and also the orange Integra of Kevin Ruck sitting to driver's left at turn 5. Both of those cars dropping out of the top 3 medal positions, inheriting the 2nd and 3rd spot there on camera. Workman in the 52 and Bednar's in the 47. And then that next battle is going to pop up behind with the blue RX-7 Michael Lewis leading Powers and Simons. They've all had great races. The question is, with 5 laps to go, starting to work lap 10 this time across the line. We know for a fact that they will only do a green-white checker, so we need 2 laps worth of time to play with to go back to green flag. 16 minutes on the clock should be no issue, though, right, John?
I would think so. I would think they would have plenty of time, yeah. Laps behind the safety car, about 5 minutes-ish, depending on how quick they are. So we'll just see how it all sorts out as the field packing up behind the Mazda safety car. Talking again about Mark Webber, the driver in his 71st runoff start. His best finish ever in those 70 starts was a 4th in F production right here at Road America back in 2020. So with the attrition that we've seen so far, he may be not out of the hunt yet, but he's definitely going to be part of the lead draft here as the top 6 are in your camera shot.
Maybe not the bragging rights the field would want to have, but everybody who's had the mechanical failures has done a 10 out of 10 job getting out of the way into a place where we can continue to run. We're under yellow for an incident involving 2 cars, one that couldn't refire, but both just light damage on the 2 cars. And I think this should be a case study for future drivers' meetings. This is how you get off the track otherwise if something's going wrong.
Yeah, exactly right. Verdeen just unable to continue as it looked like there was some damage just in front of the left rear wheel, so probably broke a half shaft or something and make it tough for him to continue. Yep, his car's now out of the way. So this should be a pretty quick recovery. All things being equal, we should be able to go green next time by. We talked about a couple of the awards that these guys have won. We talked about Chris Bovis, a 2007 Kimberly Cup winner. Kevin Ruck was the 2009 Jim Fitzgerald Rookie of the Year. Ken Kennard, the 2023 Mark Donahue Award winner. Jonathan Goodale, who's also one of the drivers involved in that incident, also winning the 2003 Kimberly Cup. I want to congratulate Bill Verdeen for winning the Sunoco 260 Thursday. He got 15 gallons of free Sunoco fuel for his qualifying performance. We also talked about Ken Kennard in a position for a super sweep. It looks like that's not going to happen for him, as his race ended early. Kevin Ruck won the Hawk Breakthrough performance for making up the most positions between first and second day qualifying. So congratulations to him for that. Free set of brake pads.
This will be an interesting restart because I just got my memory jogged. It wasn't all that long ago, but Mason Workman, remember how racy he was at the drop of this flag? We're not going to have that much time left, and we know the CRX of Chris Bovis leading this race does have the raw pace to get away, but Workman was just so quick. If he can make another jump at this thing, it should be a little bit of an oomphier motor under the hood of that Miata versus the GT Light Heritage CRX that leads the way. I can't say that Bovis is certainly going to win this thing in any way. You would never say that with F production, but Workman could keep this thing very interesting down into turn one if he gets a good restart.
Absolutely right. Mark Webber, as we mentioned, up to 7th. Gerald Lamb currently 8th in his red Miata. Thomas Gatos in the 118 CRX in 9th, and Michael Froh rounding out the top 10 in the number 73 Miata. Michael from right here in Elkhart Lake.
Here's our Mazda Protege 5. Some fans of that at the track. Every time someone knows, been around multiple people who have noticed it in the paddock and go, wait a second, that's a race car. That's cool. So some fan favorites, unexpected and expected at the runoffs.
Jeffrey Winterfield in that car. The only rookie in this field. And right at the tail end, Chris Copley in the number 10. Toyota Paseo. The only one in the field in 13th position. Lights are out on the safety car, so it looks like we should be good to go for a restart here as we'll be completing race lap 10, so 3 to go. Watch that black number 52 in second. He was a monster on the initial start. And let's see if he can work that magic once again as Chris Bovis brings the field around through the final turn. He controls the pace of the field. He is required to maintain safety car pace until he reaches the acceleration zone. And then he may accelerate at any point after he passes that first marker. Right there, just off to your right. And he's taking his time. And there he goes, and here goes Mason Workman, just as you said. Bovis a little sleepy on the throttle. He's going to lose a whole bunch of spots as Michael Lewis is going to move up into a podium position. Bovis in danger of being passed for 5th here.
Oh my, what a restart for Bovis, and not in a good way. Right behind him, Tom Gatos gets a great run in the orange CRX around the outside of both of those red Miatas. That's Weber and I think Gerald Lamb. So now another battle there. Bovis looks at speed again, but somehow he let himself either in the wrong gear or missed a shift right when the green flag came out. Bednarz and Workman were ready to go up on the wheel. They made it happen. Lewis went with them. We're still battling 2 and 3 wide in the background of this restart.
Yeah, now the 2 GT Light cars side by side with Bovis and Michael Lewis as they go side by side down the hill. There goes Lewis already trying to make the move on Bednarz as he's going to try to go around the outside. Lewis is really good here in turn 5.
Stephen Powers gets the move now on Bovis. Bovis is on his heels and cannot get the momentum built back up in that CRX. Simons is going to go through as well. That's just side pipe exhaust smoke from Michael Lewis, but it sounds like someone sideways. Oh, Bednar's. I think Bednar started to lose the car, or did Michael Lewis perhaps get into the side of him? There was definitely contact between the two, but I'm not sure if it was before or after the incident had started. They both resume.
And now the 145 is Stephen Powers up into second with the 63. Right behind him, Stephen Simons. Then the early leader, Chris Bovis, back to fourth.
This is a topsy-turvy restart. The good news for Bovis is there's now 2 fewer cars in front of him. Once he gets the rock spinning back on the string, the momentum back up. The top spot still being held by your defending champion. It's Workman. Then, now all of a sudden, Stephen Powers finds himself in second spot. Stephen Simons finds himself third. Familiar territory for him, where he found himself last year out of nowhere. But those top 3 Miatas come to try to break away, running for their lives, as Chris Bovis tries to get the momentum back up. Powers for the lead down the inside for Canada Corner.
And he takes it. Powers takes over the position as Workman drops back into second spot. Simons right behind him. So Stephen Powers takes over the top spot for the first time in this race, as it's a Miata battle for all 3 of the podium positions right now.
Mason Workman's car doesn't appear to be happy. Now Bovis gets a huge run through the final corner. He's going to pop to the inside of Workman, but Stephen Simons was able to get a position from Workman as well, who continues to drop back just slightly. At the start-finish line with 2 laps to go, it's going to be Powers, Simons, and Bovis. That was completely unexpected a lap ago.
And now here goes Simons making the move on Powers as they go side by side, and Bovis is going to make it 3 wide down into turn 1. Bovis late on the brakes as Simons goes around the outside, but Bovis, after looking like he was nowhere, all of a sudden comes right back to the front.
Simons tried not to let it happen, but he kind of had to let it go as Bovis was really, really deep on the brakes down the inside. Workman continuing to pick up a little bit more pace, but it looks like that car is struggling off the corner exits. It doesn't have nearly the oomph that we thought it might. Bednar's is still in this one as Michael Lewis reports to pit lane.
Got a door donut there as the 16 goes off. Jeffrey Winterfield in his first runoff start as he goes a little wide at turn 3. And there goes Powers around Mason Workman, so Workman drops back to fourth, and now he's got David Bednar's all over him. The battle at the front is still a good one, though, as Bovis not getting away from Stephen Simons as they work their way through turn 7, down hurry downs toward turn number 8. Bednar's with some damage to the front of that car, as you can see, and he's trying to make the move on Mason Workman.
After that great restart, Thomas Gatos dropping back behind Weber and Lamb. Topsy-turvy yet again. That CRX doesn't sound super healthy, I have to say, underneath our audio there, but still working his way towards the white flag this lap.
Mark Webber up to 6th position in this race, with Gerald Lamb just behind him and those 2 red Miatas. As the 71st start for Mark Webber in runoffs competition, way in front of anybody else. And we've got a replay, just give us some indication of what happened.
Yeah, this is the incident between Lewis and Bednar's,
yeah.
And the previous camera shot, it looked like Lewis had actually gotten through on turn 5, with Bednar's getting a run on the exit of turn 5, went for the late move, and the 2 came together with Bednar's slightly behind, so it was Bednar's into the driver door of Lewis. Unfortunately, Lewis is calling it quits. Bednar's continuing to run with some damage on the front of that car, but that confirms our suspicion of whether or not contact happened before or after.
We got another shot from a different camera that'll give us a slightly different angle of that incident. Here we go. They're side by side. That's Bednar's on the inside, Lewis on the outside.
Both cars with pretty good right to racing room in that moment, and it looks like just maybe a little bit of miscommunication on the space needed for both of those cars. Lewis turning into Bednar's. Bednar's keeping his nose there longer than Lewis expected. Who knows? Probably depends on who you ask, but at the front now, Bovis continues to lead the race after a terrible restart, recovers very nicely. 1 lap spent floundering and then found his footing. Once again, Simons and Powers will be your second and third place driver, at least at this point, but Powers has a lot of pressure from Bednar's now. You see the little scuffs on the front of that Miata. This race is not done yet for the third place bronze medal.
As we are working lap 13. The 3 Miatas line astern. Again, Workman's car seems to go off the boil a little bit. He's great on the restarts, but then it just doesn't seem happy once everybody gets up to speed. As Workman goes a little wide there at the exit of turn 7. Chris Bovis pedaling hard to try to keep Steven Simons behind him as they make their way through the carousel turn, heading for the kink for the final time at speed.
Tell you what, Steven Simons is flying right now. This is the smallest the gap has been, and I would say Simons has actually closed it down ever so slightly. Coming through the kink in the carousel, finds extra bravery, everything he's got out to the dirt, trying to straighten out the run through, and he's got the run. Is he going to take a peek on the inside of Canada corner? Yes, he shows the nose, side by side on the final lap.
Into Canada he goes. Bovis might be able to do the over-under, but Simons takes the pass. Bovis does not seem to have an answer, as if the car just does not accelerate off of that corner. Steven Simons looking to be on his way to a national championship. Who would have guessed it? Fantastic drive for Steven Simons.
Oh, and it's not done yet. Bovis has another one of those runs through the final corner. We're coming to the white, we're coming to the checker flag, John. What is going to happen?
Bovis has got the run. He's going to duck to the inside. Here they come. Look at this. Chris Bovis recovers and takes the win. Holy moly.
Unbelievable F-production race. We cannot believe. Last year we thought 2 corners was an unbelievable finish to not be able to predict. That came to the last second. Chris Bovis fist pumping out the window. This battle is still happening at the start-finish line.
That's Mark Webber and Lamb. Webber taking 5th place. Look at that.
All the way up to 5th on his 71st runoff start. Over 700 races with the SCCA, and he comes home with, is that his best finish ever? Bednar's has a stuff in the wall.
Yeah, right out of Canada.
Too many things happening to keep up with. As another car has an issue. I think this was a self-induced spin down in the exit of entry of turn 5.
Yeah, Linnerud in the Volkswagen. Rabbit with a problem. So we've got some cleanup to do here. As what a fantastic finish. Chris Bovis recovering after what looked to be a disastrous run through Canada corner. As Steven Simons stuffed it down to the inside, it looked like Bovis was cooked, but he had what it takes to make the pass going up the hill to the line. Margin of victory just over 1/10 of a second, 0.132 between those two. Stephen Powers brought it home in 3rd spot. Mason Workman has to settle for 4th. Mark Webber, the ageless wonder, in 5th. Gerald Lamb 6th. Paul Jensen 7th. Michael Froh 8th. Jeffrey Winterfield in 9th. And Chris Copley rounding out the top 10 in the unofficial results. So now, of course, with one of the GT Light cars taking the win, there will be all sorts of consternation, I'm sure,
well,
about equalization.
The question I have, maybe Hayward can ask, is if there was maybe a gear missing out of that CRX. He had higher speeds, no problem, but all of a sudden he just had nothing for a couple of corners there on the second to last and last lap. Number 178 there, Chris Bovis taking the win, but it looked like it wasn't going to happen. We were leaning in forward in our seats further and further. Cannot believe the way that played out. As well, Steven Simons picks up another medal, one better than last year. Stephen Powers finishes 3rd. His best finish ever was 7th. Barely won one top 10 back at Laguna Seca, in fact, in 2014. So this is just a really, really cool podium, I think. What a cool collection of drivers, and what a job they did.
Yeah, Bovis taking his 4th gold medal. Just over 1/10 of a second over Steven Simons. Stephen Powers coming home in the bronze position. Mason Workman, last year's champion, in 4th. Mark Webber in his 71st start comes home with a top 5. Gerald Lamb in 6th. Paul Jensen 7th. Michael Froh 8th. Jeffrey Winterfield on debut finishes in 9th in his first runoff start. Chris Copley rounding out the top 10. Thomas Gatos, the last car on the lead lap in the number 11 car, in the 11th position, should we say, in the number 118. As the safety crew has a little work to do to recover some of these cars before we can get our next race underway, but we've got a little time. It's still about 15 minutes before the scheduled start of the Touring 3 race next on the agenda.
Yeah, nearly as many cars to recover as did finish this race. So, you know, our hearts go out to Bednar's, of course, on that last lap with the incident, as well as Linrud, but also Lewis, Goodale, Verdine, Nat, Stripmatter, Ruck, Kennard, all those drivers suffering mechanical failures at some point in this race. Manning not even making the green flag. So the 21 cars, we're going to have 11 finishers.
Yeah.
Not a great ratio, but what an exciting race it made for, I have to say. Mason Workman will be the first one to enter the pit lane, although 4th on the grid. Sorry, on the results sheet.
Yeah, exactly right. So an eventful race for sure, one of the most eventful so far. But Chris Bovis taking his 4th gold medal since 2017, the last time he won, and that was in the GT Light class. Trying to get him, there he goes, he wants to get to the front of the line, as well he should.
Put in gear, put in gear.
Hayward Wagner down there alongside, getting ready to have a chat with our 4-time champion. Chris Bovis out of the Washington, D.C. area. Carrollton, Virginia, the town he calls home. He was picked as one of the podium finishers by Sports Car. And let's head down to Hayward.
Guys, you know that it's a pro effort when there's not 1, not 2, but 3 people here to take the rear window out of the car, so there's room for everybody on this victory lap. You guys really do know what you're doing, don't you?
It didn't feel like it at times, but yeah, actually, honestly, we do this because of all the people that you see around here. We had a really rough week, did a lot of work leading up to this, and I'm just so happy for them to get the payoff.
We were speculating on the restart. You and I spoke before the race. You said, I'm down on torque. Slow is bad for me. Very slow roll to the flag. Were you missing a gear? Was it a strategy? What happened?
Second gear picked a really bad time to leave, and I didn't have second gear for that entire, whatever the 3 laps or whatever it was. And I don't think I have first, so I'm not sure how we're going to do the victory lap, but we'll find a way.
That last lap, the commentators were starting to give you congratulations coming into turn 5. This race is over. You lost the lead and got it back. Did you think it was gone for good in Canada?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, for sure. I mean, so he got inside me. I was too slow for 3rd. I tried 2nd again. It still wasn't there. And then he just took off, and I'm like, well, this is it. So, but, you know.
Turns out. Congratulations. A gold medal here at the Runoffs.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
What a great performance by Chris Bovis, driving around a transmission problem in that car, perhaps losing 1st and 2nd gear. So he's going to need a little help with that car full of crew members to head out on his victory lap. But it looks like Hayward is gathering up our bronze and silver medal finishers. Let's head back down to Hayward.
We talked to a lot of silver medal finishers that are just so bummed because they were so close. You look like you had the time of your life.
I did, yeah. This, I think I just said this hurts so good, and that pretty much sums it up. Yeah, nothing I could do. No, so it is what it is. It was a hell of a race. Had a ton of fun. Everybody raced clean around me for the most part, it looks like.
You had one of the cleanest passes for the lead in Canada we have ever seen. That was a tremendous pass and just not quite enough legs there to the end, but congratulations on the bronze.
Oh, thank you very much.
And we got our 3rd place finisher right here. You had the best seat in the house.
Yes,
you got to see all the action, and you came back with a bronze. How's it feel?
That's great. I kept it clean. I'm happy. Nothing got tied up and stayed out of that melee up at the top 6. Feeling happy and feeling tired and feeling great to be on the podium. So
that beer's going to taste good, isn't it?
Oh, God, you know it. I'll have a few. That's my thing.
Congratulations to our medal finishers. What a great job for them in a race of attrition for sure. And it looks like Boas is able to get that car away from victory circle. Looks like he's going to have to do it again because they're holding him because they've got a tow truck in the way. But here's the highlights as the cars take the start. David Strittmatter just took off at the front. Bovis tried to slot in behind him, but again, perhaps transmission issues. Mason Workman, just a man on a mission at the start of this race, goes right to the front. And then the two Acuras, and then this problem for Kevin Ruck. Something went wrong. And that car spinning into turn number 1. He was not able to continue. And then Strittmatter coming into the kink, and that car just noses over. And that's because of a flat left front tire. And that little bit of run over the curb, or perhaps picking up some debris somewhere else. And then this incident, which brought out the yellow flag, the number 6 of Bill Verdine with the incident with Bednar's. And then on the restart, once again, Workman looking really, really strong, bringing the 47 of Bednar's along with him. Michael Lewis up into third, but then here comes Bovis on the next lap, just diving down into turn 1. Like we said, once you got that rock spinning at the end of the string, he was really able to make it happen. And then this pass for what we thought was the win. Down to the inside, Steven Simons at Canada Corner. And Bovis just couldn't get it spooled back up until the last possible moment, and he takes the win. Congratulations to our winner, Chris Bovis, in F production in the 62nd running of the SCCA National Championship Runoffs, presented by Sunoco.
Okay, so pretend this is your race car. It's on the trailer, and you have an accident. Ouch! At least your truck's insurance will pay for another one? Yeah, not so fast. Standard insurance won't replace your race car, whether it's in the trailer, in the paddock, in the garage, or the repair shop. But at Hagerty, we can protect it for what it's really worth anytime it's off the track. No matter what or where you race, offer less than a set of race tires. Hagerty, let's drive together.
Choose joy. Choose the road. Choose your people. Choose your shot. Take it. Choose to get in there. Even better, get out there. That's it. Way out there. Choose your calling. Choose to really care. Choose to go for it. Just choose. We craft cars for those who choose to do more than simply move.
I wake up.
Shopping for tires used to really ruffle my feathers. That was before I went to TireRack.com. TireRack made it easy to identify the right tires. No more searching high and low, I got the best deal. TireRack has thousands of recommended installers. I chose a mobile installer. They brought the tires to my neck of the woods and put them on, right here in my driveway.
You're all done.
Thank you. When it's time for new tires, trust the experts. TireRack.com, the way tire buying should be.